Hello, everybody. My name is NiccoSilverado, and welcome to our discussion about the ever-growing trend that is AI and generative AI in the art industry. For I, myself, am a corporate graphic designer of over 10 years, and I have worked with companies all across the United States, and as of recent events, I have had to become very used to and very familiar with the new usage of generative AI in the public spaces. Now, before we get any further, I would want to make it very clear that the purpose of this video is not to simply claim that in a very black and white statement that AI is bad, don't touch it, or on the opposite spectrum, claiming that AI is going to be the next step in evolution in art and we need to get with it or be abandoned. That's not the purpose of this video. I want this video to help give any of you who are watching here today a proper educational opinion, a proper opportunity to really allow you to understand what it is that has a lot of people riled up, especially in regards to the usage of generative AI. Now, for any of you who happen to be artists and are joining in this video to find out whether or not I am for or against it, I want you all to know that from my personal experiences, in terms of working in the field as a graphic designer and putting a lot of pride and passion to what it is that I create, I am not a fan of AI. And many of you who are watching this most likely are not either. You have witnessed many of your clients comparing you to the sense of AI, comparing your skill level to that of a random machine of prompts, or in the more drastic sense, you've most likely have had your own artwork stolen and traced over by AI without your consent. And I, for one thing, greatly sympathize with you. If, by also the secondary chances, you happen to be an individual who might be very curious about AI, whether you wish to learn about using it or whether or not you wish to learn why people are so mad about it. I'm hoping that as we get further along this video, I'll provide you a better educational reason as to why you should have an understanding about why AI is very destructive, and in some cases why AI can be very helpful, but it just needs a little more help along the way. But let's dive right in and hope you all enjoy the video. Now, in the realms of 2025, AI, as we all know it, is slowly becoming more and more integrated into our everyday lives. From the advances of medical technology to the overall streamlining of everyday workflow, AI is literally everywhere. And it's not showing any signs of slowing down, and it's not really ever going to go away. So what is it that we can do? Now, depending on whatever side of the aisle you choose to stand on, many of you may be wanting AI to just outright be abolished because you believe it's becoming an invasive form of technology, while others who are watching this video may be seeing the AI as a way to push ourselves forward in a way that we've never seen. And unfortunately, the answer to that question is not as simple as we would like it to be. AI is quite literally ingrained into our everyday lives. Hell, AI is probably the reason why you've potentially found this video in the sense of the algorithms and whatever platform you chose to have found this at the time. Now, in terms of context about myself and this whole subject matter, really, I am, like I said, a graphic designer of over 10 years, and I have been involved in the industry since before the heavy usage of AI, and I have learned to grow and respect the practice, the dedication, and the soul that I have put into a lot of the artworks and the designs that I have made throughout the years. And I personally do not condone the usage of AI because in the artistic medium, AI, when it comes to being the sole method of creation, removes the human element in the creative process. However, usage of AI when it's used as a tool is something that I feel like is a very important distinction. And we're currently experiencing, in a more extreme sense, an epidemic where AI is being used very nefariously against artists, and you're witnessing individuals who have dedicated their hearts, their souls to their craft, and they're watching people just crap on their whole idea, and everything that they've worked on is being diminished because AI is a powerful tool, but it's kind of in a way tainting what it is that designers do from the artistic space. Now, in order to properly shed light into regards to what it is that AI does and how it works, I want to kind of explain to you guys in a very simplistic way in regards to how AI and generative art really even functions. So to be put quite simply, generative AI uses a series of very powerful programs and very powerful engines that are trained via outside sources of artwork or various creative assets that are then placed and combined for the AI to officially learn and create a, for lack of better words, style. And it is no secret that AI learns just from virtually anything that it's given. Training AI modules can come anywhere from sources of movies, artistic forums, and in even some cases, social media platforms with a very artistic presence. And sadly, thanks to the current age of the internet, we have a near limitless supply of references for nearly any style, allowing AI modules to create really anything that the user and the designer wants. And given time and enough material to learn from, AI can replicate virtually any style with a terrifying level of accuracy. And unfortunately, the limitation is merely the model and the user itself. With this ability of AI engines, this has caused a very large spark of controversies. Many artists are oftentimes outraged at the pure sight of AI due to it being well known that any artwork that is normally made by generative AI is often deemed using stolen works of artwork without the consent and even the knowledge of the original artist. And a lot of times you will find a very amount of high-tail signs of AI art due to either incomplete anatomy, improper usage of artistic technique, and unfortunately, as of right now, AI is really easy to spot, especially for a trained artist eyeball. Now, when we get into this next segment here, I want you all to understand that these are going to be the perspectives of both artists as well as people who may not be within the artistic medium. But when you put yourself into the shoes, the perspective of a designer, you need to understand that there is a very large degree of pride when artists create their own work. And many artists like myself have spent hundreds upon hundreds of hours learning our programs, learning our crafts, and allowing ourselves to become so proficient in what we do, we can actually make a living with our own passions. And oftentimes, whenever you find an artist trying to take a stand against AI, they will most oftentimes use their most popular slogans, pick up a pencil. To be put simply, a lot of people who oftentimes value AI art over traditional artists do not understand that there is a reason why many traditional artists and digital artists have picked up this whole threatening slogan of pick up a pencil. The term is not only a threat, but it's also a sense of a call out, as for the perspective of artists, to claim to use AI as your medium simply because you refuse to understand art is deemed as just a lazy excuse. Given time, education, and repetition, anyone, quite literally anyone, can be an artist of reasonable skill. But in the perspective for people who have this viewpoint, your artwork is not going to obtain the level that you may wish. You are not going to be able to sell hundreds upon hundreds of copies of various artworks and commissions because you simply used AI or because you simply don't like your own skill. Skill such as art and artistic creative ability grows over time. Nothing great is honestly built in a day, and we live in an era of technology where any skill can be obtained and anything you need to learn is accessible via the internet. You do not need a college education, you do not need to break the bank, it simply requires time, effort, and dedication. Now, this is the part of the video that I know is going to cause some degree of leeway in terms of your understanding of what I'm trying to get into, but I do ask you guys to do the best you can to hear me out as we flip perspectives and we transition to things from the viewpoint of non-artistically led people, mostly in the perspective of clients. In the world of AI, we have three sides to this very intricate argument. We have the people who are for the usage of AI, people who are against AI, but of course the folks who are not oftentimes spoken enough about are the people who are receiving the work that we give them, whether it's AI or not. When we talk about the perspective of customers, we as designers have to understand that we have pride in how we create and in the method in which we choose to create our works. But we have to understand that there's a perspective of the customers who, at the end of the day, will solely judge us based off the end product that we have given them, regardless of the A to B perspective in the middle. And I wanted to dive into this talking point by discussing a recent article by a company known as Dextro. In the article, made by Dexero titled XQC Sparking Controversy as they're claiming AI is already better than most artists, which I'll leave a link in the description. This is an article that I believe, in for lack of better terms, says the quiet part out loud. The article stems from Twitch streamer XQC sparking a lot of discussion in regards to the world and the usage of AI, stating how the quality of AI as it currently is now is better than most artists' best work. And I highly encourage everyone here to read this article in order to develop a proper opinion and to try your best to read the full story. The article itself continues as XQC goes into the common trend talking about how AI is oftentimes labeled as quote-unquote AI slop, stating how calling AI simply slop is a buzzword that just means to discredit any work that is made by AI, regardless of whether or not how good or bad it is.
I feel like slop is becoming a word like a buzzword to discredit anything in.
A particular comment in the article that I wanted to dive into was, why would I care? I do not consume the method, I consume the product.
I don't care. Why would I care? I don't consume the method, I consume the product.
And to me, ladies and gentlemen, this statement, this simple sentence is a very, very powerful word that, like I said earlier, tends to say the quiet part out loud when it comes to talking about the consumers versus the producers. As the receiver of a product, it's oftentimes unlikely that you will know and understand every single step of the process, and we can call this process simply the method. In the case of art, yes, the consumer may not understand how the artist creates and plans for the design, from the line art to the coloring to the final rendering, but to put in simple terms, to the consumers, they're simply seeking the end product. For example, if you are seeking a very cool design of a shark sticker, you may not care how the shark is designed or what references was used to create said shark. You, as a consumer, want a cool shark sticker. And to consumers, as long as they get what they paid for, they'll find themselves honestly blessed and happy. And they will oftentimes have a very minimal or next to no understanding of your methods. And unfortunately, as artists, it's really hard for us to expect them to appreciate and understand our efforts. And from the perspective of customers and consumers, a vast majority of consumers are not worried about how it's made. AI honestly offers a sense of convenience for the sake of what consumers are looking for. And one of the biggest things that traditional creators will find they will always lose when it comes to AI is AI's advantage when it comes to time. AI allows for not only a reduction in the artwork that is received, but it allows for almost near instantaneous adjustment should it be needed. And for many advocates of AI, so long as the end product looks cool, they'll happily accept any products or designs created by AI regardless of the opinions of the masses. As we stand right now looking at all the upcoming changes and the weird opinions of AI, we have to understand that out of everything that should be valued in today's modern realm of art is the human element. Now, of course, in regards to artwork, time is always going to be a factor. Some designs created by humans will oftentimes take weeks to make purely customized work, whereas AI has the potential to make the same thing in just minutes. But the moment that we no longer value the human element in the products that we receive in terms of art, where do we draw the line? When does it stop? And as designers, we truly cannot afford to just outright discredit and remove the human element from art, because the human element provides a personal effect with art. It provides what designers can find a way to implement their own personalities, their emotions into the deeper meaning of the artwork itself. And while it is completely fair to understand the disconnect between artists and consumers, I think it's sometimes a sense of a nature, a duty for artists to, for lack of better words, educate the consumers about why they should value the process of working with a fellow artist. I will state, however, that for any of you who may be worried about the state of AI, it's important to understand that AI as it is right now is truly creating very questionable, sometimes even lackluster works. The quality created by AI is oftentimes showcased as very off-putting, and AI is often unable to create proper human anatomy, and Even the line art made by current AI is oftentimes very, very questionable. And the most common tells of AI is that you'll find most AI tends to still create multiple fingers, odd blendings of various designs, and just really making an unnatural look that really makes a style of AI, but not a welcomed style of AI. And it will take a many, many generations of AI technologies before I personally believe we'll see anything positive for the sense of quality in the AI art industry. So for any of my fellow artists out there who are creating in their own personal styles, keep creating what you can and know that your talents, your skills are going to be preserved, and AI's got a long way. They will not take away your passion and your skills, and the clients who love you and love what you make, they'll still come to you no matter what. So do what you can to find a degree of safety and an assurance in that regard. Now, I've been making a couple of points here and there to talk about those of you who are in fear in regards to what AI is becoming and what AI is going to potentially do for us in regards to potentially stealing jobs and even making some people's lives a living hell, as many people fear their job security as artists is very much in jeopardy. And I want you all to know that while I was looking up and finding more and more examples of various things about AI, I want you all to know that there are still voices out there. And AI theft is one of the most common things you will find people stand up against, find a ways to, rise against the usage of AI, as AI theft is one of the quickest things that people on social media are rallying and calling out without any form of hesitation. And it's not just the little guys either. We even have larger named individuals genuinely fighting against AI. Now, one of the biggest examples of this would be a recent trend that was going around in the realms of social media where an AI artist had programmed his engine to use examples from all the various Studio Ghibli films and created a filter that would convert human photos into a Studio Ghibli-like style. On a surface area, this is very much almost like a fan homage where you can create your pictures and dogs even to look like Studio Ghibli characters, and it was deemed a very sensible thing. But when you dig deeper, you find that this is a breach of respect towards the artist. The Studio Ghibli founder, Hayao Miyazaki, he was an individual who, when he had found out about this trend, he had taken up a storm and he fought so hard in order to defend his work and the animator's work against AI. In the article that I'll leave in the description below, you'll find that when you read about the article here, is that Miyazaki was able to find a way to speak out and stand out against the so-called artists who use AI, as he himself had found that AI is genuinely a disgusting sense of art, and the fact that someone had tried to steal his art without his permission was one of the biggest situations that caused him to even go into legal action, allowing him to demand a cease and desist from the creator of such an app. Whether or not this had actually led to any fruit, at the time of this video, there wasn't any official word or any finalizations. But if you do happen to have known anything about the final results, please let me know down in the comment section, as I would love to learn. Now, not only did this whole situation spark a lot of outrage from Miyazaki himself, but this led to many individuals attempting to do legal action to modify their artwork to make AI basically break from trying to scan it. And as we look into the situation, more and more people are doing what they can to fight against AI within the realm of the artistic space. And we have to be very thankful that AI is not being allowed to run rampant, regardless of whether or not it's high-end artists versus everyday individuals like yourself or even Miyazaki himself. And we have to understand that the situation is growing and the situation is becoming very interesting as time develops. Now, for anyone who's in this part of the video, I want you all to understand that the things that I have spoken about are mostly negative with AI in the art industry because there is not many points that I would personally say are genuinely positive. minus the ease of accessibility and maybe the general speed advantages, AI art has led to a lot of negative and a lot of grief, and you will find a lot of people in the artistic space will have some degree of negatives. But again, this video is, I'm trying my best to provide you guys a sense of both perspectives. Now, while we look into the situation more and more, we need to ask the important question as to why do we choose to simply dislike AI, while also wondering where is the line in the sand where AI can be deemed as a tool versus AI becomes a crutch that has now tainted the community. And overall, with the idea that AI taking artists without permission is by all means a genuinely negative problem, I want you all to take a moment to ask yourself on a wider perspective of that problem. And I want to know about your opinions about this. And this is in regards to how AI obtains its current models and its current reference images. In regards to my statement about how AI needs to be regulated, one of the questions I asked myself was, in regards to regulations, if AI was required by some congressional law that AI would need to obtain licenses before using said licensed material to learn, would it make it any better? Would paying the artist to use their artwork to train AI, would that make it a morally okay situation? Because with AI being used to train models, if it was built to the extent of supporting artists by licensing their works, would it make it more acceptable? In my opinion, it would shine to the degree of a more positive light, but at the end of the day, it would still lead to possibly jeopardizing and tainting the profession, really, because you have this new unrealistic expectation that AI has inadvertently created by the eyes of the consumers. This has caused a lot of people to have various misunderstandings about what's possible by human artists, while understanding that the method takes a lot more time to create such things versus the final product that AI can supposedly create. And in my personal experience, I live every single day with a shifting balance of human elements followed by the integrations of AI. And working in the graphic design field for almost a decade, I have witnessed the changes of the art industry, and I have seen all these new tools and new gadgets that our programs are integrating. And as technology grows more and more powerful, artwork and the ability of programs is quickly becoming more accessible. Corporations in the design field have, in a way, grown a new understanding as to the fear that many of their artists are having, but they also see things from the perspective of increasing the workplace efficiency, and with the power of AI, they can create more in less time should AI become a stronger power, for lack of better words. This is, of course, leads to the speculation of corporate greed and the slowly shrinking design field as a whole with the usage of AI. And I cannot genuinely tell you if that's a future or not, because in my experiences, I have witnessed many of my own personal tasks and responsibilities be shrunken down as AI is able to create 10 times more than me at a rate that I'm unable to compete with. And the speed and the cleanliness of the AI trained, it's hard. And I do believe that there is a sense of fear that is warranted, as many corporations who choose to use AI will mostly see things from the money and the financial perspective versus the human perspective of having more people. And when it comes to the people who are independent, obviously as independents, you have every right to do everything you can to keep yourselves afloat. And I do believe there's a genuine fear about if whether or not AI will supposedly take away your position and your clients. And what I say to that is, if you are an independent designer and you are afraid of your clients abandoning you for the sake of AI, I believe let your work speak for that which AI tries to create. AI can make a similar concept, maybe, but AI also has the ability to completely botch everything that they try to make, and your clients, given time and trust, will come back to you knowing that your skills, your artwork is by all means your staple, your identifier, your identity. and never stop creating. And AI, like I said earlier, AI has a lot of functions and a lot of tools that I think if it was practiced more and understood more, AI, even in the art industry, does have some potential highlights and some potential positives in the sense of AI being able to eliminate mundane tasks and certain aspects of the workflow. I believe AI can receive the respect it could earn, but as a tool, not as a crutch. And we're currently in an era where AI as a whole is a crutch. But then again, though, it comes down to the big question of, is AI itself not a tool? And where do we draw the line of tool versus, crutch? And if this tool is not meant to provide better accessibility, then why do we not use it more? Because for a lot of people, the usage of AI means more people can use and create artwork at a much cheaper, if not almost a free rate. And I believe this will be an era of a lot of theft, regardless of what we try to do to prevent it. As we look back to the entirety that this video has uncovered, I know that there's a lot of parts that I could have definitely expanded on, but at the end of the day, one of the biggest things I want to say is that your perspective of AI will definitely determine based on what you choose to use AI for. Whether you choose to use AI to better enhance your own personal artistic world, whether you use AI as a way to casually mess around with friends and make funny memes out of it. And these questions and answers will always be divided amongst peers and will often be extremely dependent on your perspective of the matter. For myself and many graphic designers, we see AI as a threat to our job security, and many of us will choose to boycott the involvement of AI within our communities and will fight tooth and nail to see either heavily regulated or in some cases even outright just gone. And we also do have designers in the field who do use AI as a way to increase their skills, increase their accessibility. And while there are few and far between who have chosen to come out with their involvement of AI as a designer, there are people out there and we can't pretend that they don't exist. But if there's anything that you choose to take with this whole discussion, this whole video, as an artist, I urge really anyone here who gets to this point in the video to really understand that many artists are very angry, they are scared, and above all else, they are unsure of the future. Please do everything you can to support your fellow human artists with patience, assurance, and do your best to aim for what you believe people would provide you the best peace of mind as a designer. If you do end up choosing to obtain someone who does use AI, may their work provide you happiness, because at the end of the day, you as the customer, if you are happy with how your money is spent, then that's all that matters. No amount of preaching for or against AI can really ever sway you from that opinion. And for those of you who see AI as a major opportunity in this industry, understand that at the time of this video, AI was still very much in the test phases. There were a lot of major potentials to grow, and technology itself has kind of growing and we don't know where it's going to go. But it really is nowhere near where we want it to be. And AI as a tool, regardless of the media, can be seen in a proper light, and it has its proper uses, and I will not pretend otherwise. And just understand the majority of the negative speculation that AI has is due to the very nefarious actions of the few who use AI against proper morals and ethics, and they choose to use AI to undermine the talents of other people. And I'm sure that a segment of you have most likely have earned a better sense of your opinions on AI. And if you do have anything that you've learned or anything you would like to add about AI, please let me know down in the comments section, as I would love to hear any perspective about it. And I hope that we are able to grow farther along as a community. And if you guys do end up get to this point of the video, consider joining us over on our Twitch and or YouTube streams, where you guys can come join us and learn about what we do for jobs and tell me what you guys felt about this video. But I do hope to see you all in the future. But nevertheless though, I've been your host, NiccoSilverado. Thank you for tuning into this lovely discussion, And I'm excited to see what you guys think. But as always, though, and forever, adios, sayonara. I'll catch you guys all on the next video. Bye-bye, guys.